Welcome to the X Corner. I'm here to add a little mutation to the Superherocrew yet again. I'll be covering the X comics for the week of January 31st, 2018. And this week we have 4 comics. All New Wolverine 30, Old Man Logan 34, Phoenix Resurrection, The Return of Jean Grey 5, and Jean Grey number 11. Spoilers, of course. We'll start with All New Wolverine number 30. The writer is Tom Taylor and the pencilers Juan N. Cabal. Well, here we are at the finale of the Orphans of X storyline. As expected, Laura took the bullets out of Logan, Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and Daken, and they have all come back to life. Expectedly, Sabretooth wants to kill everyone, but Laura says no, and that she'll confront the orphans to try and explain. So she sends Sabretooth and Deathstrike off. As Sabretooth says, when you're trying to convince people you're not the bad guys, having those two around is kind of indefensible. Laura confronts the group, and it turns out their leader, Henry Sutter, is the son of the man who made her. She had spared the boy when she was sent to kill the family back in the day, and now he's militarized the support group who are grieving their lost relatives and turned them into a terrorist organization. As Laura explains, she was the victim too, and Henry doesn't want to hear it, and keeps shooting her. But she just keeps talking. Eventually Laura says she wants to join them so that she can get justice against the people who had sent the various Wolverines after their loved ones. It ends with Laura saying she's an orphan of X too. And this is a nice little wrap up to this storyline. I wasn't excited about it at first, but Tom Taylor brought it around and left us with some story seeds for the future. The art is great, especially the I am an orphan of X panel. Also, the relationship between Daken and Gabby is still the best thing ever. Even boops her nose at one point. Then there's a scene where Laura throws her shield from her still terrible looking armor, and Gabby geeks out, saying that she Captain America'd, and it's very cool. Gabby is the best new character in the last few years, and I don't see what people are complaining about, but what do I know? And I don't have too much bad to say about this one. It was nicely paced, great art, and wrapped the story nicely. Next issue teams Laura with Deadpool, which normally I would see as a cash grab, but since Deadpool and Gabby's friendship against Laura's wishes is so cute, I'm really excited about this one. As long as it's not a crossover. Rating 8 out of 10. Next we have Old Man Logan 34. The writer is Ed Brisson, the penciler is Ibrahim Robertson Mendez. Last issue, Logan was sent on a mission with his now back from the dead ex-wife Mariko, aka the Scarlet Samurai, to go to Madripoor to stop the spread of Regenerix, the drug that gives people healing factor. The Hand are also in Madripoor to find the drug, so that they can make more. A local gang has a remaining sample, but they don't last long after Gorgon and the Hand find them. Logan and Mariko have been trying to get the info about where the drug is from street junkies, but then they hear an explosion. Logan says that happens all the time in Madripoor, but Mariko insists they investigate. They find the Hand and fight. Logan deals with the ninjas while Scarlet Samurai prevails over Gorgon. But not before Logan is stabbed many times and looks like his elderly healing factor is finally failing him. The art, as always, is amazing here. The comic begins with a couple of pages of the history of the Hand vs. Clan Yoshida on Madripoor, and it looks a lot like a classic samurai movie. Also, it's now canon that Molson Canadian kickstarts Logan's healing factor. Nothing like a bit of home to get the healing juices flowing. Not much happened otherwise in this book, and Logan was pretty dumb in places, but that might be because he was on death's door. Now with the real Wolverine back, will this version be long for the world? Also, I can't see them keeping Mariko alive for long. Hopefully they don't just kill everyone off though. Instead, put them on the shelf to come back years later, but we'll see. Rating 7 out of 10. Then we have the big one, Phoenix Resurrection, The Return of Jean Grey, number 5 of 5. The writer is Matthew Rosenberg, the penciler is Joe Bennett, and Lineal Francis Yu. So this is it, the big finale. I've been hyping this book from the beginning. Can it live up to that kind of hype? Well, yes it can. We begin with Old Man Logan going into the diner to see if Jean is still Jean, and to either convince her this is all an illusion, or to kill her if he thinks the Phoenix is in control. Logan decides the best way to convince Jean is to claw out her best friend's throat, right in front of her, which might have been a little rash, but it worked, so there you go. The Phoenix reveals itself to Jean, and at first tries to tempt her with resurrecting all the dead loved ones she has. Jean denies the beast, but then the Phoenix brings back the real Cyclops, and in a touching scene they kiss, before Phoenix kills Cyclops again to threaten Jean. This backfires as she was happy to see her husband one last time. In the end, Jean is forced to break up with the Phoenix, in the ultimate it's not you, it's me scene, and the Phoenix goes away leaving Jean with the X-Men. There is a pinup of the new version of the Phoenix costume on Jean in the middle of this book, which kicked butt. I assume that was Lineal Francis Yu. Also, there are 5 panels where the Phoenix is pleading with Jean that it can be whatever she wants it to be through the ages. That really shows the Phoenix is just a lovesick, fiery bird god. In the end, Jean slumped next to the emaciated corpse of her twice-dead husband was an odd choice, especially if Havoc had been there. That would have been depressing. But overall, it was perfect. We get a resurrected Jean with a resolution to the whole Phoenix thing. The question is, what's going on over in Jean Grey number 11? We shall now see. Oh yeah, and I rate this thing. Let me see, I'll give it a 9.5. It was close, but not perfect. Will I ever find that 10? Who knows? But if this isn't it, I wouldn't hold my breath. Lastly, there is Jean Grey number 11. I delayed this one in the rundown since it takes place after Phoenix Resurrection number 5. The writer is Dennis Hopeless, and the pencilers Alberto Albuquerque and Victor Abanez. So when we last left this comic, which seems like ages ago now, the young Jean Grey had been immolated by the Phoenix. This issue begins with Jean in hell, or so it seems. She confronts Ilyana, who slashes Jean, who then finds herself in a prehistoric times. Jean is attacked by a cave woman Phoenix and almost drowns. She then pulls herself out of the water and into the Sentinel run Days of Future Past Future, and is hunted down and punched into space by Rachel Grey. I hope you see a theme emerging. She confronts another Phoenix host who is fighting the Shi'ar, but she says enough is enough and blows up the planet. She confronts the Phoenix and finds that she is in the white-hot room where pieces of the ex-Phoenix hosts dwell within it. The Phoenix sees her as unworthy and not the real Jean Grey, which annoys Jean because she's been saying that all along. But she realizes that she's in control here, so she tells off the Phoenix and demands to be resurrected. She makes her way back home to Madripoor and just wants to go to sleep, but just as her head hits the pillow, who should walk in but the newly resurrected old Jean Grey. In a nice side piece to the Phoenix Resurrection storyline, this issue has the Phoenix gloating that it doesn't need young Jean because its plans are going great over in the Resurrection book. That obviously doesn't work out for the Stalker Firebird, of course. I do love that Jean gets fed up with all this Phoenix crap and just leaves. It was a nice touch to see a different side to the whole Phoenix rigmarole. A fun book, which I think is cancelled now to make room for X-Men Red. And as a series, the Jean Grey book acts as a companion piece to the Phoenix Resurrection, and thus really doesn't hold up on its own, other than as a character study for the younger Jean. Through the book, I have learned to appreciate her, which was unexpected when I started. I give this one a 7 out of 10. So that was this week's polls for the X-Men. No more Phoenix Resurrection, but it runs right into X-Men Red, so no worries about missing the Jeans. Overall, a good week, so let's hope we start getting better mix. This good week, bad week cycle is starting to make me crazy. Until next time, have a good one.